You ready,
Hi,
Kelly?
everyone.
There we go.
Yes, I'm ready. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Tech Thursday this week. My name is Kelly Gendelsberger. I am one of our partner success managers here at Infrascale. I cover the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. And today I am joined by Chris Bain, our Chief Solutions Architect. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Kelly. How you doing today? Doing good?
Doing well. Yeah, headed towards a 3-day weekend. So hopefully most of us are doing pretty well with an extra day. Hoping everyone has that extra day. So
I just want to make sure this is going to be recorded, right?
yes, it will absolutely be recorded. Thank you so much for asking. So yeah, let's get rolling here. This will be recorded. We will be posting a link. It will be posted to YouTube. We are streaming live to YouTube and to Facebook, so it will be posted in both of those locations. I would ask that you guys keep your lines muted. That's going to help us through the duration of the call. And if you have questions, please put them there for us in the chat, and we will try to answer them as close to real time as possible. But Chris, I say we go ahead and get started. We can just roll into the agenda. Folks, this is our second Tech Thursday. Think of this as a virtual Infrascale user group. So, if you're using Infrascale products, thank you so much for your business and your partnership. This is a platform for you to come and hopefully walk away with more knowledge about our products and working with us than you had coming in. That's the goal. Chris, do you want to take us through these agenda items?
Sure, absolutely. So this is our, as Kelly said, our second, but it's our first one having guests on. So we're excited today that we've got Doug Olson, the VP of Technical Support, to come on and help, explain their role and explain how you guys can have a great interaction with them, just in case you need to engage tech support. And then we're also bringing on the leaders, the managers for disaster recovery and for cloud backup. So they're both going to talk to us about some common stuff that we see and kind of some tips and tricks around working around that. And then we're also going to talk about pre-sales training. So maybe you acquired some Infrascale customers, or you deployed it and it's been a little while, and you want a refresher on the latest and greatest. What trainings are offered, and how do you engage and get those going? And then, of course, we're going to, at the end, we're going to have that live Q&A session. We seem to be missing Doug. Doug disappeared from the meeting.
Did Doug disappear?
Doug. All right, so Doug has disappeared. So in Doug's place, well, actually, is Doug still in our, oh, SLC is down. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we lost Doug entirely. So we will.
We can have Doug go after Anatoly and Steven.
Absolutely, we can do that. So let's see if they get back up. We'll go ahead and jump past him, and we'll jump over to Anatoly.
I'm sorry, I just joined on my phone. I still don't have internet. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Do you want to just do your part as a phone in, and then we'll drop the video out?
That works. Sorry, guys.
No problem. If technology worked perfectly, they wouldn't need us. So here we go. We'll put in a screenshot of Doug for the time being. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about your Infrascale experiences and your 3 topics you wanted to cover.
Absolutely. Thank you so much all for attending the call. My name is Doug Olson, Vice President of Tech Support. I've been with Infrascale for almost 5 years now. I've been in the support arena for much longer than that, 35 years plus. So it's my lifeblood. I live, breathe, and sleep support. Wanted to talk about a couple of things today. The first one is how do you engage support? Now, many of you have already figured this out, but there may be other ways that you may not have been aware of. So just go through that real quick. We have multiple channels that you can reach us on. You can do it via just a simple email at support@infrascale.com. You can call us, and if you go to our website, which is infrascale.com/support, you'll see all the phone numbers where you can reach us on. We have a chat methodology. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what chat is and how it's been modified recently. We also have a web form where you see that blue button. You can just fill in information there. That gives us all the details we need. That actually creates a case as well. And that's via a web form to case email integration. So basically what you do when you fill that out, it sends an email to us, which then creates the case with all the detail you provided. We also have links in the dashboard itself under support. You can see a link that will bring you right to this website that Chris is showing right now. And we also have it in the appliance. You'll see a support button where if you click on that, you can collect logs, create a case, things of that nature. It used to be under, I believe it was the diagnostic tab. Now it's under its own tab in support. So those are the multiple ways that you can reach us. I want to talk briefly about what has happened in chat. So many of you may have attempted chat in the past where you may have had a less than stellar experience because it didn't seem like it was staffed, even though it showed that it was. When the green button is there, that shouldn't mean that we have people logged in and available. What we discovered recently was that the configuration was set to only allow one chat per tech support engineer, but it would still show us as available. So tech support wouldn't even know that there was a chat waiting. That's been modified. So now a single support engineer can have up to 3 chats simultaneously. The other thing we've changed is there used to be 2 buttons, one for ICB, one for IDR. We've combined the teams together because there was another issue with our chat application where it didn't play well when it had multiple inputs. So we've combined them together. That's going to give us a greater coverage with the employees that we have in tech support. The other thing that we're doing, which is another improvement that we have, all of the support engineers are going to be cross-trained on the other products. So if they've primarily been working with our ICB or Infrascale Cloud Backup, they're being cross-trained on in Infrascale disaster recovery. Same goes the other way. If they're IDR, they're getting trained on ICB. Again, it's going to really help coverage in all regards, not just chat, but telephone and email. The other improvement that we have coming down the road is we're in the middle of hiring up some additional support members. So we're going to hire before the end of Q2, beginning of Q3, 6 additional support members, so that we're going to be able to cover the most critical times better than we have been. We're still going to be 24 hours a day for 5 days, Monday through Friday. We will have live coverage. On the weekends, we are on a callback mode for critical issues. So if you have an urgent critical issue on the weekend, we are still there for you. We have different support engineers that are on call. I used to say they're on pager duty, but who carries a pager any longer? So now they're able to, when you call in, you'll get directed if it's urgent and critical to our answering service. If you email us, we won't get that, but you will get a reply saying, please call for urgent and critical issues. So it's always best on any urgent and critical issue to call us. Now, the reason we have all these different channels that we have available to you is really for match what your issue is. You can use whatever one you're most comfortable with. But like I said, if it's urgent and critical, the best thing to do is call us. That way we get notified right away. We can enlist assistance as soon as possible. If it is, for an example, a very easy question, you just need a quick question and answer, chat works great. So you just plug into the chat, provide us a little bit of information, get connected with an individual, they should be able to answer that pretty quickly. It's a little bit more complex, where you need to kind of write out all the steps that you've done, attach a bunch of screenshots, things of that nature, then email works well, because all of that gets attached to the case. That's why we have all these different methods. That is basically what I wanted to cover. And we have 2 of my team members on the presentation with us. They're both support managers. We have Anatoly and Steve, and they'll be introducing themselves. Just for a little bit of background, Anatoly primarily was IDR support. Steve was primarily ICP support. We're moving that around, so now they're going to be regional support managers. Anatoly will support the European accounts or European support team members. Steve will be supporting the US and escalation team. Currently, he's also managing the India support team. We are interviewing for a new support manager for India. So we're kind of moving away from productized support to regional coverage so that we can ensure that the team members are getting the appropriate on-site management that they need and deserve. That's it for me, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump over to Anatoly. So we've got him up in streaming live, and he wants to cover a couple of things. But before you jump into that, tell us a little bit about your Infrascale career, how long you've been here, some of the roles you've had.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all here. My name is Natalia Vilchinsky. I'm the regional manager of our European office, which is located in Kiev, Ukraine. I started my career in Infrascale 4 years and 10 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. I joined Infrascale as support engineer, and then my career just started to quickly, giving me roles with higher responsibility, which I loved. So I became the team leader first, and now I'm the manager of technical support in Infrascale.
So you were quickly identified as a rock star and moved up the food chain. I like that.
You make me blush. So yeah, and today I wanted to talk about 3 topics that are most common issues for our IDR users, if nobody minds. So the first topic that I want, go ahead.
I just wanted to, so IDR, Infrascale Disaster Recovery, we also refer to it as DRAS. It's our appliance-based backup offering. So just in case the acronyms are too much for you, I'll break those out real quick, and go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Well, usually we just call it the appliance. So yeah, the first topic is storage utilization issue, which basically means that appliance is running out of space for some reason. Unfortunately, that is really something that happens quite frequently. And my recommendation on this is, well, first of all, keep an eye on the storage of the appliance. It's something that, in my opinion, the appliance users should handle on themselves. Keep in mind that utilization of the appliance, the storage utilization of the appliance, depends on the amount of the unique data, since appliance have the duplication built in, which basically means that if one of the system that is getting backed up starts having some unique data block, it may increase, like big unique file, it may increase the storage utilization significantly. Another thing that you should keep an eye on is keeping your retentions in shape. Like you should really define for yourself what exactly the amount of backups do you need to store to keep yourself in a safe spot.
So one thing here, I'll show you a couple tips and tricks here. Here we can see the protected space. Now, if we actually look, the protected space here is actually higher than the used space on the appliance. And that's because we're doing that block level dedupe and we're efficiently storing that data. But again, like you said, if that starts to grow, there's a couple of things out there that we can see that might cause an issue. I've heard encryption can be make things a little less efficient. So if you have an encrypted virtual machine or encrypted storage out there, it's kind of hard for us to be able to compress that?
Hey, Chris, I think you're sharing the dashboard, but we only see Anatoly.
Do you see Anatoly full screen?
No, I just see little Anatoly.
You just see little
I think
Anatoly?
yeah, I think you're trying to show us the console, but we don't see that, and we saw a note
Yeah,
from
it
someone else in
should
the
have
chat.
changed. Okay, let's
So I know it's not just me.
we'll go back to Anatoly, we'll go back to here. Anything change?
Nope.
No.
All right. Well,
Still small, Natalia.
interesting.
That's okay.
It also looks like Anatoly might be frozen, so maybe.
Frozen in time.
Yeah.
So I'll pause my presentation screen and I'll restart it. Any change?
Still frozen.
Still frozen. Oh, that's no good. It was nice having an animated
Oh, there we
Anatoly.
go.
Change.
Yeah.
We have the Infrascale console.
Yeah.
Now you have the Infrascale console?
Yes.
All right. Interesting. So
Still,
here,
again, me.
back to you again?
Yeah.
So it's definitely got a delay baked in right now. Yes,
Because I think it
I
might be the
agree, it's delayed.
videos, since we have
It's very delayed. We have
everyone's video. We tried to be fancy and include everyone's video.
Now in the
Right, maybe
console,
we should.
you do have the ability to see at the bottom the protected space and the used space. You also have a column if you go to Client Summary where you can see the protected bytes. And that's really the main point I wanted to bring up is if you go to that column, you can see what the protected bytes are across all the different servers. And that's a good way to figure out what the offender might be that's taking up all of that space.
That's one way to do it. Definitely. Okay, thanks, Chris. I think I can move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Chris,
Okay,
we did have one chat come through. It says, how do I set up alerting for my appliances?
It's a good question. There are a few ways to do that. Usually, we are encouraging our users to configure the alerting in the dashboard. So basically, you need to log into dashboard.infrascale.com, and there you should see all of the managing options, which includes alerting. Nevertheless, if you go to the appliance console on the settings, under the settings tab, there should be a tab that is responsible for configuring the alerts as well. Unfortunately, we cannot show it right now because we have lags with the video.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Anatoly, for walking us through that. And I think usually that's set up with the implementation team, I think, but I guess people can
True.
adjust as they go on.
Yeah, usually we have during the implementation, people can ask any how-to question they have on top of their heads, and our colleagues from the implementation team will be more than happy to answer all of them. So support will not have answered them afterwards.
Yeah, and Anatoly, that's a good point. So I think most of you on the call have deployed Infrascale in the past, so you're probably familiar with the process. But if anyone on the call has not, just a heads up, when you purchase Infrascale Disaster Recovery, once that appliance ships, it's actually our implementation team that reaches out to you first to schedule a few calls to help you get that set up. So they are your training wheels. They are going to be the ones to ensure you've got a successful deployment and set you up for a successful duration of your Infrascale contract. And then support, obviously, is there post-implementation if you have issues or questions. So thank you for saying that, Anatoly. And I think we're going to plan on having implementation on one of these future calls to talk to folks about that.
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay, if you don't mind, I'm going to move on with the items. So we've been talking about how to properly keep an eye on the storage utilization, and the next item on the list is to make sure that you don't have that you don't back up something that you don't really need. For example, you have a C drive of the system and a D drive with something as some place where you store like random files that you don't really need in your work. So you just need to make sure that you're backing up C drive, not D drive. And the last point is we have a lot of customers that are using simultaneously DR backup and file folder backup to back up the one system. That mostly is redundant. Usually we recommend to use DR backup everywhere and to use file folder backup only if it's needed, which are one of the following scenarios. Backing up of databases, SQL databases, backing up of mailboxes, backing up of network attached storages, and non-Linux or non-virtualized Linux operation systems. That's it. So in any other scenario, it's highly recommended to use DR backup capabilities. Well, first of all, because it gives you more functionality for restore. You can do the file level restore. You can do you can spin up the virtual machine out of the DR backup, which is not possible with the file level restore, etc. So please use DR backup. Okay, so that's mostly it from the storage utilization perspective. And the next item in my list that I want to touch base on is the DR backups themselves, because most of the issues that's been submitted by the customers are DR backups related. And the main reason for that is because DR backup is most commonly used. So no wonder that most cases are coming from that part of our functionality. So the first of all, a lot of DR related issues are in one way or another are addressed in our docs portal, where we store all of our knowledge base articles. And you can just simply grab the keywords from the error message that you're getting out of the DR backup and go to docs portal, search for it, and I'm pretty much sure that you will find something. Oh, thanks, Chris.
Yep, this is docs.infrascale.com. And, you know, not only does it have great information around that, but if we look at, you know, say you want to configure something, here's your deployment guides, here's your quick start guide. Literally, when you open the box, what do the ports do? What do I plug into what? All the way down to, again, the deployment guides. And then also, if you search with those keywords, it's going to bring up those articles to help you to troubleshoot those issues.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for showing it up. Okay, and also one news about the DR backup. So we're making significant improvements in our DR backup engine. Well, technically, it's not improvements. We're switching from the DR engine that we've been previously used to new one that we've been developed completely from scratch. So we have a new standard engine which addresses a lot of issues that we had with previous engine, and starting from the version 8.0 that started to be released this week, it's a new standard engine. In all of the previous versions of the appliance, you had to switch to the new engine manually. So in my opinion, the easiest way just to upgrade your appliance to the to version 8.0 once you will see it on your appliances. Okay, and the last item that I have in my list is DR and restore testing. That is the cases, the support cases that are related to that topic. Those topics are not something that we're receiving frequently, but unfortunately, those are the most painful ones, because once if customer needs to recover quickly because his production is down, the last thing that he needs to know, that he wants to see is that something is not working properly because of some misconfiguration. So we are always encouraging our users to do DDR testing of the DDR scenario before it will happen.
And
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's one of the things that's great about the solution is, unlike a lot of our competitors, we don't charge for DR testing. So if you guys want to boot up locally on the appliance, you want to boot up in the cloud, you want to test this all out, we don't charge for that. We don't limit how many times you can do it. You don't even have to contact support to do it. But you can test it out, and if there's an issue, then absolutely. While things are good, go ahead and open up that case with support. You guys can take your time and fix it because you're proactively fixing something, as opposed to, oh no, we've lost power, we didn't test, things aren't working right, now it's an emergency.
Exactly. And a lot of the issues are coming from just simple misconfiguration, like networking gone bad, VPN is not working, etc. Something that is easy to fix, but it just takes time, which makes those issues even more painful, the time for recovery. And kind of same scenario, same situation with the restores. So people are, I was really surprised when I come to backup world to know that users of the backup solution sometimes are just not testing their restores. I mean, how can you know if that thing works until you will try it out?
So even though the appliance is pretty much set it and forget it, don't do that. Set it and test it. Make sure that those restores are working. Occasionally, do a restore, make sure it's good.
Yep, exactly. Okay,
so, excellent
that is
advice.
Actually everything that I have in my list. So thank you very much for.
And we're a little tight on time, so I was kind of cutting you off a little bit, but we'll definitely have you guys back. So now we're going to jump over to Steven Zayas, who unfortunately does not have video for us today, but he's going to go over some of the things and best practices around cloud backup.
Hi all, thank you Chris for that intro. Hope everyone is having a great day so far. As mentioned, I'll be running through some of the most common support inquiries and best practices. Some of the best practices that I feel, if not utilized correctly, can result in a good amount of our support cases.
Before you jump in that, just a real quick, who are you? How long have you been here? Because I think you are the senior guy on the call.
Yeah, sure thing. My name is Steven Zayas. As Doug mentioned before, I'm one of the regional managers here for the U.S. support department. Been with Infrascale for about 8 years. Started as a TSE, then a lead, and now I'm helping to manage the team. I've seen it grow from a small startup to what it is today, with all the added technologies and the global presence that we now have, which has been a very exciting and rewarding thing.
Excellent.
All right. Just going to jump into the top 3 common issues or support inquiries and best practices. The first one I'd say is around storage utilization, specifically around our retention policies. A very common issue or complaint that we receive is that a backup account has exceeded its provision space, unseemingly out of nowhere. So you see account, it's 50 gigabytes. The next time you look at it, it's ballooned maybe 2x and it's now at 100 gigabytes. Usually there's a couple questions that arise from that. Why did this happen? How can we prevent it from happening again in the future? And how do we fix it right now? So for the first one, why did it happen? By default, the backup is archival, which means that anything backed up to the cloud will remain there until manually deleted or until the account is canceled out. Now, this can be overridden with one of our retention policies. And this will help keep the cloud kind of in line with what's going on locally. So it'll still provide a safeguard for, recovery, but also help keep what's going on in the cloud in line with what's going on locally. So if you look there in the bottom left corner, we have the section for retention policies. There's two options available: delete files from the cloud if they are not changed on the local computer for X days, or delete file from the cloud if they are deleted from the local computer after waiting X days. By far the most popular is the second option, delete from the local computer after waiting X days. What this will do is basically provide a mechanism for self-cleanup while also giving you a delay or a grace period before the stuff in the cloud is affected. So it's a great way to keep the cloud in line with what's going on locally, but still have that protection just in case something were to go wrong. This retention policy does not work retroactively though. So if the account is over space and the retention wasn't set from the beginning, we don't have a reference point for those local files in order to safely delete them, so we don't. So in that case, you will either need to use the account cleanup tool, which Chris is showing right here in the dashboard. You can get to this through Manage tab up top, Backup Accounts, and then you'll see the option for account cleanup. Pretty self-explanatory here. So you can delete the files from the cloud that have not been modified in more than X days, or delete files from the cloud that have not been changed in more than X days, or I'm sorry, more backed up in X days. As shown here, there's also the option to delete older or stale versions if needed as well.
And I find that, I'm not that bright. I can't remember the last 10 versions of a file. So I think that that's kind of a safe number to go with, where, by default, we keep infinite versions. But this is one way you can clean those up if you need to.
Exactly. And of course, you can do any account cleanup or deletions through the software agent itself. If you'd like to do a more targeted deletion or cleanup. The next topic is around reporting and monitoring. Another common scenario is we had a backup that was missed, or perhaps a backup that had errors and warning alerts that the partner or admin was not aware about. We then dig into the settings within this dashboard for this functionality right there in the monitoring tab, and find out that there's nothing configured. So this is something that we highly, highly recommend doing. Very, very beneficial for an admin to get these reports on a daily basis. It's basically reports around performance, usage, and error and warnings. So the first one there is around performance. It's going to give you a digest on a daily basis of what all the accounts are doing. The second one is more targeted for error and warning alerts. So I've had partners that have one admin that gets the comprehensive report, and another one that is more that has taken over the reports for the error and warnings. And then there's also one down below for usage. So this is subscribed to daily account details and email reports. Down below, we have also the anomaly detection. So these are our ransomware detection tools. So we have the anomaly detection for both change files and new files, as well as the pre-baked definitions down below as well. So if you select that last option down below, we'll actually scan backups for files associated with the ransomware extensions and alert you anytime we find those. And the last topic I had was around some dashboard features that were released relatively recently within the past year or so that I've discovered some partners are not yet aware of. And just in case we have some in here that aren't aware of, I thought I'd mention these. The first one is multi-factor authentication, which can be found in the settings MFA. So you can enable MFA either at the dashboard level for just the dashboard admins. You can enable it for all the dashboard users. So let's say a backup account user logs in, wants to log in directly to the dashboard. They would need the MFA details to do that. And then, of course, you can apply it to all the accounts, which include dashboard admins, dashboard users, and backup users as well.
Now, I like to give people who come to these a little bit of extra information. So multi-factor authentication right now is email and text-based. We are adding in third-party support. So things like Google Authenticator will be included in the multi-factor authentication this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. The next topic on this section is the administration. So when we first delivered you the dashboard as the partner, we provided a kind of a random string of numbers followed by a WS as the initial username. You do not have to keep that. So after you initially log in, you can go to this section here, hit that create user button in the kind of near the upper right corner there, and create yourself an alternative admin. Or you can create a sub admin if you have other administrators that require access to this dashboard. Taking that a step further, you can assign specific roles to those sub admins. So let's say if you wanted one admin to control just the IDR appliance stuff and one to control just the ICB stuff, you can dictate that through these roles here. Yeah, and that concludes my presentation so far.
Excellent. Thank you for all that information. And yeah, there's definitely some new stuff. I mean, you know, even simply is making sure that you're coming in and you're just going in and you're looking at your backup accounts and making sure that, you know, they've got plenty of room. I do know that we got emailed in a question on how hard is it to configure quotas, to grow or shrink a quota, and can I even shrink a quota?
Yeah, absolutely. So with both backup accounts and companies, you can go up or down pretty easily within the dashboard, within the manage section there. So if you go to manage backup accounts and
We'll look
select
at this one's not using that much space, so we'll say
I'm not seeing your screen.
oh, you are correct. There we are.
Awesome, thank you.
So we're under backup accounts. We see one here
So
that's
here's
not
the main
using that much
backup
space.
section.
And we can say change account size. And then right now she's got 50 gigs. She's using 0. We'll drop her to 20. Hit save and close.
And that's it. So you can go up or down with regards to the backup account. The company is a little bit different. So let's say you have a backup account that doesn't belong directly under your partner admin. It belongs first under a company. In order to upgrade that backup account, you may first need to upgrade the company that it belongs to. So a company is kind of like a sub-container within this dashboard, right? So you can assign a company. In this case, we've assigned a company, let's say 2 terabytes there. That company has 2 terabytes to play around with, and it's compartmentalized within that company. So if you do have a backup account, again, that resides underneath that company, that you need to ensure that that company has adequate space for that upgrade. And if it doesn't, you'll need to first upgrade that company first in order to upgrade the backup account that belongs to it.
So here we can see we've got a red flag. We've got one that's at 100%. That's our LA office, and that is one of my SEs, Aaron Jordan, apparently using up all 100 gigs. So if we wanted to give him more space, what you just said was we would have to make the company's allotment bigger, and then we can make the user within that company bigger.
Exactly right.
All right, cool. Thank you for that tip. So I believe that was all that you were planning on to present on today. Is that accurate?
Correct.
All right, let's go ahead and jump over to my part of the presentation. We do have 5 minutes left, so I'll make it sweet and quick. So pre-sales training. I am the chief architect here at Infrascale. We've got a bunch of SEs here that can help you out with this too. But, you know, what is pre-sales training? Why do we offer it? Kelly, why would someone need pre-sales training?
Yeah, I mean, say they're a year into their contract and Infrascale's running smoothly, but the person managing the dashboard has left the company and maybe somebody new needs to be trained up on it. Or maybe a partner has inherited some Infrascale from a new client of theirs and they're not sure how to work it.
Excellent, excellent. Or yeah, you know, maybe it's just been a while, or, you know, we have 8.0 coming out and you want to get trained up on that. Those are all things that we can help you with. So you decide, all right, I need to learn more about Infrascale. I need my team to learn more. What's the next step? How do I engage? Well, reach out to your rep, whether it's your field rep or your inside rep for Infrascale. And if you don't know who that is, reach out to me and Kelly. We can help you find out who that is. There's an 800 number on the website. You can call that. They'll point you to your sales rep, and they're going to help you to be able to find out who you need to engage with so we can get one of our SEs involved with you. Now, we have 4 different things that we typically train on. One's the dashboard, so alerting, monitoring, all that kind of fun stuff, how to configure it. Another one is going to be our direct-to-cloud solution. So that falls under Steven's support group right now, but we are moving to that region base. So that's going to be anything that's direct-to-cloud. Next is IDR. We also call it DRAS, disaster recovery, or the appliance solution, which we found out today. That one we can also run through, show you all the updates, show you all the configuration stuff. And then last but not least, we didn't talk about it today, but our cloud application backup. So if you need to back up Office 365, Dropbox, Box, any of those things, you can definitely reach out to us, and we can help walk you through setting those up. Now, with that being said, we have a tiny amount of time, so I do want to open it up for questions.
Chris, I've got one question in the chat from Thomas. He's asking, is it on the roadmap to have auto testing of images?
Auto testing of images. So I'm guessing he's talking about...
He also mentioned screenshots in there on a follow-up. So I think what he's asking for is a DR image screenshot to show that the DR image had been booted.
So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, and assuming that the internet gods will let me switch over screens, here I can show you on the appliance, we have screenshots. So the ability to bring up the screenshots to verify that that last backup is successful and came online. So here we can see verification status successful, we're good. We also have now integrated that up into here. So if we go monitoring endpoints, and we sort it by boot verification. So I need to go to a level where we have boot verification. So let me log out and log back in real quick. And now if we go in here and we go to endpoints, we can now see that we have moved those up into the cloud. So now we can also see Odin, one of my backup servers. We can see what endpoint it was. We can see the backup type. We can see the status of the last backups, the most recent successful backup on the device, in the cloud, and the boot image here. So we've even moved that up to the cloud layer. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. Chris, we are just at 1 minute until 2:45. So I appreciate everyone's time. This has been great. This is our second Tech Thursday. We will be doing more of these. We appreciate your business and your time. Anatoly, Doug, Stephen, Chris, thank you so much for helping us out today. And we hope everyone has a great rest of your week.
Now, before we drop off, I do want to say, please go to all of our social. Follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all those things. And then definitely when you get these invites, there's a link in there to send in an email to get a question. So if you have a question, shoot it out and we'll make sure we cover it next time.
Yes, and I just put our YouTube link in the chat, so should be easy to get to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye.